on this news breaking just last night, Mayor, and we just mentioned there might be a special session, and this could conceivably come back up. There was a special session for the Raiders, too, when they got their stadium deal worked out. In the meantime, though, have the A's reached out to you, or have you reached out to the team? I know it's only been a few hours since this news broke.
So I have not been reached out to yet, but again, I'm open to that. And I'm not surprised that the legislators did not pass this. And it's my understanding as well that the only thing that they will be bringing back to the special session will be budgeted items.
Budgeted items, they have 5 items on the budget, but infrastructure projects are also there. So we'll see what happens there. We saw that it happened with the Raiders. Not to get too much false hope, but, you know, there's an opening for you.
Absolutely. And I also want to state that I've been in close communication with many people behind the scenes as well in regards to the Oakland A's. I want to be very clear. I believe that the Oakland A's belong here in the city of Oakland, and it is the right of our Oakland A's fans to actually see that come to fruition. And so I have been doing a lot of great work behind the scenes as well too, to ensure that our city is placed in the best possible position in a way that we carry Oakland values, right? So that we are being responsible for our constituents and residents.
Right. The MLB commissioner did mention there are some other cities, Charlotte, Nashville is one of them, that could, if they didn't work out in Las Vegas, they could move to these other cities. But are you ready to battle it out to keep them there?
You know, at the end of the day, I believe that Oakland, a beautifully diverse community like the city of Oakland, who have been fighting day in and day out to keep the Oakland A's here, that they need to come back to the decision-making table with the city leaders here in the city of Oakland, and that we should and we deserve a baseball team because we're working to ensure that there's negotiations that are happening. But again, I'm open to those conversations with John Fisher, Dave Cavill, or a new owner of the team.
All right, let's move on to your budget now. It's been making some big news. $4 billion next two fiscal years, $360 million deficit from disappearing COVID money. A lot of it is from that. First of all, have you adjusted the budget so it takes on that $360 million? Have you eliminated that $360 million?
Absolutely. So in my proposed budget, it is a balanced budget, and we did it in a fiscally responsible way. We've done it in a way where it's going to create a government that's more effective and more efficient. Of course, we had to make some really hard decisions, but overall, it is a strong budget, and right now it is in front of the City Council to pass.
What was some of your toughest decisions when you were cutting from the budget?
Well, there are really tough decisions, including, you know, I know that in the Department of Violence Prevention, we were able to use 17 million of ARPA funding, one-time funding, to actually give out to some of our most incredibly important community interrupters, and so we were able to do that. And so in this budget, we're actually able to increase the number of employees and staff in the DVP by a dozen employees.
But they still lost $7 million based on your new budget, right? That
Absolutely.
normally they would got funding, and so they were still able to increase in that department some of the employees that you needed?
Yes, we were able to grow that department by 12 employees.
All right, let's talk about crime in Oakland, since we're talking about this. You have crime in Oakland, violent crime up 7%, robberies up 12%, rapes 23%. How does this address those numbers? I mean, these are high numbers. If you live in Oakland, you've seen some of the issues that we're facing, like I do. How does this budget address that?
Absolutely. And so if it weren't for what we have right now, obviously you would see those numbers be a lot higher. This number is lower than what we have seen last year. And so not to that point as well, too, is that we are actually going to have more officers come next year than we have had in the last 2 years. More so than that, as I've just stated, in the DVP, we're going to have 12 new members of that department, and it's about what, over 200% more staffing in the Department of Violence Prevention, preventing crimes from happening, than we've ever had.
So you're adding these employees, but you've cut $7 million in funding, so where are these cuts coming from within that department to make up for that extra $7 million that they're no longer getting?
Absolutely. So there's a lot of vacancies in the city of Oakland, and so we have frozen all of those vacancies unless they are generating revenue, or not just that, delivering services, key services every single day, like Public Works, that are getting our illegal dumping off of the streets, DOT, that are getting our abandoned vehicles off the streets. Those are not actually being frozen. We're continuously filling those vacancies, and we are actually implementing and hiring blitz. And what we've seen is that we've hired at least 40 positions since I've taken on the helms of the city, and that has never been done before.
What is affected then if you don't have have that money, there's got to be something within the Department of Violence Prevention that is affected by this money loss. What can you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So many of the organizations that did receive that one-time funding from the ARPA funding, some of those organizations will not see that funding. However, we are also seeing that we had a brownout at fire station, but I'm very optimistic that I will be leveraging funding from the state to hopefully figure something out in regards to our fire department. We know that they are first on scene when anything happens, and so that is one of the key priorities. But of course, when we go through the mid-cycle, we see that we are projected to have more revenues than what we actually are gearing up for. Then we can start actually opening up some policy directives in regards to who we give money to next.
Let's talk about the ceasefire program here, because that program, when you look at the stats, and I was just looking at them this morning, there was a significant decrease in crime from 2012 to 2020. The program is still around. Do I understand that correct? Is it in the same capacity as it was before?
Absolutely. I'm not taking away from ceasefire. If anything, I actually have found funding to actually do an audit of ceasefire, an audit to really tell us what is working so we can add on to it and what isn't working that we have to actually balance out.
Is it the same program, though? Because from what my understanding was, over the last couple of years, it's just not the same program that it was before when we saw those big decreases in violent crime, gun violent crime in Oakland. What is it missing from what we've heard? What is not there anymore within the department that's causing the numbers perhaps to rise? Who knows?
Yes, no, you're absolutely right. And so in the last 2 years, you're seeing that there was a consultant that we worked with that actually left the city of Oakland. And so with my tenure, as I came in January, I've actually had the conversation with that consultant.
And they actually kept track of how effective ceasefire was being, and it showed the numbers decreasing significantly. So
they're coming back to the table.
They're coming back to the table.
Yes.
You're hoping to bring them back into the ceasefire program.
I'm not hoping. They are coming back. Under my leadership, they will be coming back, and we will see those numbers drop. We know that they have been effective, to your point, and so I'm happy that they're coming back to the table to work with my administration so that we can save lives.
Any timeline yet of when you could see things running on full cylinders for ceasefire?
Well, we're going to be doing this audit, and it'll probably take a month, and then so we're hoping that we can launch something in, when summer begins.
I mean, there were impressive numbers, lower crime numbers, even with issues in terms of hiring for the police department. This is one way you could help with the violent crime numbers, right?
Absolutely. And let's not forget that we are also investing 6 new police academies as well too. So that will actually gear us up to that number of having more officers next year than we ever had in the last 2 years.
All right, well, since we're talking about the police department, what's the update on the search for a new police chief right now? We know it's been a few months. These things aren't necessarily easy, but that's one gap that people may see when they see these issues of crime in their neighborhood.
So I want to be very clear that right now our interim police chief is Chief Allison. Chief Allison has been with the department, has all the experience in the world, and I commend all of our officers who's doing great work day in and day out. Number 2, it is actually up to the police commission to start the process, and I am pushing and pressuring them to actually finally agree on a consultant so that we can start this process. We need a police chief.
We have not gotten the consultant. We have not gotten to that part yet.
The police commission has not agreed on a consultant yet.
Money's assigned to them.
I have assigned money to that.
Yeah.
I have set aside money to it. We are waiting for the police commission to actually go and sign with a consultant.
But in the meantime, the department is still going ahead with their academies. Things are running as they normally would.
Absolutely.
So, but what do you need the chief? When you have a new chief, though, what is it you want them to focus on when they do get here?
Well, making sure that they have strong community ties with the community. We all know that the trust between the police department and the community is number 1.
All right. We'll see what happens. All right. There's a lot going on in the city right now, a lot of moving parts. Yeah. The Oakland A's being one of them. Thank you for commenting on that as well. We hope to see something happen. I know a lot of people here, a lot of fans want to see the team back here, but who knows?
So do I.
Yeah, who knows? Mayor Sheng Thao, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Coming up on more.